Hello everybody and welcome to Robert's Reviews. Welcome back if you're already subscribed. If you're not subscribed, if you're interested in talking about movies every single day, make sure you guys are subscribing because I make a video every single day for you guys. So if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, make sure you're subscribing. But today we are continuing the series where I watch every single Robin Williams movie so that you don't have to. And boy is it getting long. It is a long series. I just realized that we're not even going to be in the 2000s by the time the year ends. There's so many movies. But today we are still in the 90s and we're going to be talking about Awakenings. Awakenings was released in 1990. It was written by Steven Zaillian and directed by Penny Marshall. And no spoilers, but the general idea about this film is that there are a bunch of patients who are comatose. They're not really comatose, like they're there, but they're kind of like forever. They don't move, they don't talk, they don't eat, they don't sleep, or anything like that. Well, they do sleep, I guess, but it's crazy. And this doctor comes in, played by Robin Williams, who's like, it's kind of like Parkinson's. Why don't we use this new drug that like kind of deals with that? So I give this drug to many patients, particularly Leonard, who's played by Robert De Niro, and Leonard basically becomes a fully functioning human being for like 6 weeks. I don't actually know how long it was, but I think 6 weeks is probably fair. And it's about these characters as like, can they go back to society? Can they, after 30 years of not moving, go back to actually doing stuff? And I'm going to leave that up to you guys to watch the film to figure that out. But I think it's a very frustrating film in terms of watching it, because you feel bad. You're like, wow, this is really rough. And it's based on like kind of a true story. And it's like, you feel bad for the characters. You want them to succeed. You want them to, like, you know, live. But also, to some certain extent, you're kind of like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, sure, I guess it's a true story, and I can see how it can be. But these characters, these people, wake up from being literally unable to move for 30 years to thinking that it's the same year that when they were kind of stuck in that situation. And their muscles are able to move, which I find kind of interesting because most of the time if you don't use your legs for 30 years, you have muscle dystrophy, which means you can't really move or walk. But Robert De Niro is like, and we're going. And it's like, don't really believe that would happen, but okay. I find it just a little frustrating that they kind of skipped over the fact that like you wouldn't really be able to do that. But that's okay. I think that I'm going to talk about the acting first, starting with Robert De Niro as Leonard. Robert De Niro is fantastic. I love Robert De Niro. And even here he's fantastic. Even though I think it's a little bit less of a performance than I'm used to from Robert De Niro, it is still a very, very solid performance. We see him as he kind of decides that he wants to go out into the world again and be a human being again, finally, and to see his dreams ripped away, and it's heartbreaking. And it really is one of the better parts of the film is his performance. And Robin Williams, which is the reason we watch this movie, as Dr. Malcolm Sayer. Not gonna lie, I don't really like the character a whole lot. I think he's cool, but he's like, like, I don't know, he feels like very much like just a regular doctor. And like, they kind of give him a love interest, which I didn't think we needed at all, to be honest with you, but we got it. I think that we could have done without the love interest issue, but we got it anyway, so it is what it is, I guess. I think that the interesting part about these two characters in general is how similar they are. They're both shy, they both are kind of falling in love, but the difference is that one has their complete life capacity and the other doesn't. And it's interesting to see how much that actually matters in these characters' lives, because it's a huge deal. It really is a huge deal. And I appreciate that they tried to sell that to us. And it worked to a certain extent. But for the most part, we can't relate to them. We can't relate to this abyss that they're in. We cannot relate to it, just literally. And I feel like it's frustrating to watch a movie like that where we can't relate to any of the characters, including the Doctor. And that brings me to John Hurd, who plays the bad guy, because every movie needs a villain, of course. Every movie needs a villain. It doesn't need to be a villain. There doesn't need to be a villain in every movie, but there is, okay? And John Hurd is the villain here. And the issue that I have with this villain is that he is also a doctor, but he is like, we should not give patients this drug because it could be bad for them. And that's all he does, is say no. When obviously any reasonable doctor would be like, okay, let's see if their family's okay with it, and if it is, we'll do it on all of them. And then they do. And it's like, why wouldn't we start with that? obviously, if you're a doctor, your goal is to help the patients. And if you're going to go on this bullcrap train of, like, this doctor doesn't want to help anybody, like, come on. Do we really need to add that to the film? We should have shortened the film by 15 minutes and cut his entire character out. Like, oh my goodness. I hate when they do that. And they did it here, and it really frustrates me to no end. But overall, I think that in terms of it being, like, its actual storyline, it is fine. It is not the best film. It is okay. It's sort of heart-lifting, and then also kind of not. It's also depressing. It's entertaining, for sure. I didn't want to turn it off. I didn't turn it off the entire time. I was very proud of myself. I watched it straight through, which I oftentimes have a problem with because I have a really busy schedule. But I watched it all the way through because I just couldn't stop watching it. Because it is entertaining, and you want to know what happens. But the ending is kind of underwhelming and kind of anticlimactic. You really think it's going to be something different, but it's not. You hope it's something different, but it's not. And I think it's just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and give Awakenings a B+. Definitely not the best from Robin Williams, but also definitely not the worst. So make sure you guys are tuning in to subscribe. So definitely subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. I upload every single day at 7:45 in the morning, and I'm going to be continuing this Robin Williams series every single Tuesday. Give or take every Tuesday, depending on if I take breaks to do other series, until we watch every single one of them. So if you guys want to follow along with me, go to his filmography on Wikipedia, and I'm watching every single one that is not listed as a cameo. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you guys are following along, liking, subscribing, sharing with your friends, and as always, keep watching movies and television, stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.